Welcome back to Reddit Echoes, the channel where real-life heartfelt stories are vividly and compellingly told. In every video, I bring you experiences, personal journeys, conflicts, and profound lessons shared by those who have truly lived them. Life isn't always smooth or fair. Sometimes we face challenges, pain, and difficult decisions that no one wishes for. But it's these very stories that shape who we are, helping us understand one another and the diverse, complex nature of life. Join me as we step into the world of ordinary people with extraordinary stories. Get ready to feel, to reflect, and sometimes to be shocked by the unexpected. Story 1. He hung me over the parking garage railing, the nightmare of a date night. My name is Mai. I'm 28 years old. And the story I'm about to share is about an evening that seemed ordinary, but turned into the most horrifying memory of my life. A date night with my boyfriend that I can never forget, because he played a prank that to me was almost a life-threatening act. Preparing for the date night. It all started when he booked a table at a small restaurant he loved, a reservation made weeks in advance. He was really excited, looking forward to a fun and relaxing evening with me to forget the stress of work for a while. I was excited too, thinking this would be a great chance to rekindle our relationship. He personally drove me to the restaurant. The parking lot was in a high-rise building. We parked on the top floor, a very high place with a low railing, just enough to prevent people from passing. From there, you could see the view below, and the height made me a bit dizzy. The staircase to disaster. After parking, we started walking down the stairs. The stairs ran close to the low railing, allowing a clear view of the vertical drop outside. He started teasing me, asking, "Do you think if you jumped from here, would you survive?" I laughed, replying, "Definitely not. It's so high." He then said, "Say goodbye," and suddenly grabbed my hand, pulled me close to the railing, and then hung me dangling over the edge like an action movie scene. The terrifying moment. I couldn't believe what was happening. My heart was pounding, my hands and legs trembling, my breath nearly choking. I screamed and begged him to let me down, but he just laughed loudly, treating it like a joke. I felt like I was falling into an abyss, terrified that one small slip from him would make me fall and never survive. Fear and betrayal. After he let me down, I stood there shaking with tears streaming down my face. I told him I couldn't continue the evening. I wanted to go home immediately. He thought I was overreacting and said it was just a harmless joke. I said, "You can leave however you want, but I'm driving home now." Mental aftermath. Back home, I couldn't sleep. The image of being hung over the railing haunted my mind. I cried a lot, feeling betrayed, disrespected, and toyed with as if my life was just a joke. He called to apologize, but his apology sounded more like sorry for scaring you rather than sorry for doing something wrong. The following days. In the days after, I was still scared whenever I remembered that scene. I wondered if he could do that once, what might come next. I shared the story with friends and family and received a lot of advice and sympathy. Many said this was a sign of disrespect and possibly a reason to end the relationship. The decisive conversation. I decided to sit down and talk frankly with him. I told him the prank crossed the line, hurt me deeply, and shattered my trust. He apologized, saying it was just a joke, and he didn't think it would have serious consequences. That conversation made me realize the huge difference in how we viewed boundaries and respect in love. Thoughts about the future. I started to consider whether I should stay with him or not. I wasn't sure if I could forgive and forget this, or if it was a sign of ongoing disrespect. I believe a woman deserves to live in safety and respect. A valuable lesson. From this experience, I learned, jokes must have limits, especially when they involve life and death. Respect and trust are the foundation of every relationship. No one should sacrifice their safety and feelings just for someone else's joke. A message to you. If you have faced similar situations, don't hesitate to set boundaries and protect yourself. If someone doesn't respect you or jokes too harshly, reconsider that relationship. Physical and mental safety should always come first. Conclusion. Thank you for listening to my story. If you found it meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe to Reddit Echoes for more real stories. Story 2. The father who refused to care for his wife's stepchild. When family bonds break. My name is Nam. I'm 36 years old, and this is the story of my dramatic divorce with my ex-wife, the struggles over our children, and the endless conflicts revolving around her stepchild. My ex-wife and I once had happy years together, thinking we'd be together forever. But then I found out she was cheating, something I could never forgive. At that moment, I was devastated and decided to end the marriage. I filed for divorce as soon as I learned the truth. After the divorce, my ex-wife had a child, but it wasn't mine. She and her new partner publicly acknowledged the child, and the stepchild's father was officially registered. I retained custody rights for the children. We had together 3 kids in total. But things were far from simple. My ex continuously demanded that I be involved, care for, and even adopt her stepchild. She wanted me to send birthday and holiday gifts to the child and include the stepchild in activities with our biological children. I firmly refused. I have no blood relation to that child. The child isn't mine, nor has there ever been any bond between us. My biological kids hated living with their step-sibling. The relationship was extremely tense. I didn't want my kids to suffer anymore just to keep the peace with a child I can't consider my own. My ex became more aggressive, even threatening to sue me if I didn't participate in caring for the stepchild. I complied with the law and advised her to seek outside help if she needed support with the stepchild. The conversations through the co-parenting app became increasingly tense, with her showing hostility and accusing me of being irresponsible. A year ago, the court granted me primary custody of our biological children, due to my ex's incapacity to care for them for personal reasons. I've done my best to care for the kids, supporting their education and psychological treatment to help them heal from the divorce trauma. However, I maintain my stance on not caring for my ex's stepchild for the reasons mentioned. I'm not cruel or heartless. I just can't be a father to a child who isn't mine. I fear that if I try too hard, my biological kids will be hurt and lose trust in their parents. I also empathize with the child, an innocent kid, but don't know how to balance everything. Some people say I'm too cold and should open my heart more to the stepchild. Others say I should adopt the child to maintain peace and family unity. Yet there are those who agree that what I'm doing is to protect my real children and uphold fairness. From this story, I've learned that it's not always possible to have a happy family without sincerity and respect. Everyone has the right to protect their feelings and responsibilities. Raising children requires understanding and respect from all parties involved. If you face a similar situation, think carefully and prioritize the welfare and safety of your children. Don't hesitate to seek help from legal and psychological professionals if needed. Thank you for listening to my story. If you find it meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe to Reddit Echoes to not miss more real stories. Story 3. The 16-year-old. Threatening to expose his father's affair to live with his mother. A battle for the right to choose. My name is Min. I'm 16 years old, and this is the story of an uncompromising battle between me and my father. A man I've completely lost trust in after discovering the truth about our family. Pain from childhood. My parents divorced when I was young because my father had an affair with another woman who has now become his new wife. Back then, I was too young to fully understand everything, but the feeling of betrayal and loss is deeply ingrained in my mind. Life with Dad and the new family. After the divorce, I lived alternating between my dad and mom. But with my dad, I never felt comfortable. His new family included many children, including the stepchild from my stepmother. I didn't want to live in an environment where affection and acceptance barely existed. The desire to live with Mom. I always wished to live with my mom more because that's where I felt safe and loved. But it wasn't easy. My dad and the court forced me to visit his house periodically despite my objections. A firm decision. I went through therapy to understand my feelings, but the more I went, the more I realized I didn't want to continue a relationship with my dad and his new family. I felt deeply hurt being forced to live in an environment where I was never welcomed. The legal battle recently during a court hearing, I was told that my opinion didn't matter because I'm still a minor. My dad and stepmother demanded I maintain relations with their family, and if I refused, my mom might lose custody. Feelings and thoughts. I'm very angry with my dad for betraying my mom and complicating my life. I can't forgive him and don't want to reconcile with my stepmother, who I see as the reason for our family's split. Taking a stand. I threatened to reveal my dad's affair to his colleagues if he didn't allow me to live with my mom. I don't care about the consequences because I only want to live in a place where I feel safe and loved. Reaction from dad and stepmom. They were furious and tried to persuade me to change my mind. They said that the other children in the family see me as a real brother and would be hurt if I separated from them. But I held my ground, refusing to pretend to accept something I hated. Lessons from the story. From what I've been through, I realize that the right of minors to choose their living environment should be respected more. Adult betrayal can leave deep wounds on children. Family is not just blood ties, but also love, understanding, and respect. Message to others. If you're facing complicated family conflicts, find ways to protect yourself and don't hesitate to speak up. Don't let anyone force you to live in an environment that hurts you. Conclusion. Thank you for listening to my story. If you find it meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe to Reddit Echoes so you won't miss more real and touching stories. Story 4. I reported a colleague for harassment and the price I paid. The courageous journey of a young woman. My name is Lynn. I'm 19 years old, currently working part-time as an intern at a small company. This is the story of the days I faced sexual harassment at work and the price I had to pay for daring to speak up. Starting out, I was happy and enthusiastic. Everything was new and I wanted to learn and fit into the office environment. But soon, I began to notice something very uncomfortable. A male colleague named Josh often approached me only when no one else was around. The disturbing thing was that every time I clearly saw he was visibly aroused through his thin clothes. At first, I thought maybe it was because of his thin clothing, or maybe I was overthinking. But as time went on, Josh's private approaches became more obvious and frequent. He even made inappropriate comments like, "It's hot today, I have to wear shorts, or I need to use the restroom, see you later," accompanied by suggestive looks. I didn't dare tell anyone for fear of being seen as overreacting or disliked at work. I also worried that speaking up would make me a target for even more subtle harassment. Gradually, I felt isolated, no longer happy or safe coming to work. After enduring for many days, I decided I had to do something to protect myself. I went to Human Resources HR to report everything, providing messages and evidence of harassment. Josh was then investigated and eventually fired for inappropriate behavior. I thought things would get better, but they didn't. Some colleagues started acting cold toward me, even making snide remarks behind my back. My boss spoke less and seemed to avoid me. I felt isolated in the very place I once saw as a place to learn and grow. I was both relieved for having stood up for myself and saddened by the loss of support from coworkers. Sometimes I wondered if I had been too strong, ruining all my workplace relationships. But I knew I couldn't stay silent when my safety and dignity were violated. After these incidents, I sought counseling to share my feelings and learn how to heal. I also connected with support groups, finding empathy and valuable advice. Gradually, I regained my confidence and felt deserving of respect. Through my story, I want to send a message. Don't hesitate to stand up for yourself if you face harassment or abuse. Seek help from the appropriate authorities or mental health professionals. Sometimes the price is isolation, but it's the path to building long-term safety and respect. If you're going through something similar, don't stay silent. Know that you're not alone, and there are people ready to support you. Thank you for listening to my story. If it inspires you, please like, share, and subscribe to Reddit Echoes to follow more genuine stories. Thank you all for watching until the very end. I hope today's stories have touched your heart, offering fresh perspectives and deep empathy for the different situations life brings. If you found these stories meaningful, don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe to support Reddit Echoes. Every subscription motivates me to continue bringing you more real, profound, and authentic stories. Also, I'd love to hear your thoughts and personal stories. Please leave a comment below or send me a message to share. Who knows, your story might be the next one featured on the channel. See you in the next videos. Stay healthy, stay strong, and remember, no matter how tough life gets, you are never alone.